said, excuse me, but you don't understand where I'm at. I was all around the world, on span, across the map. I've been laying low and now it's time to pop up, bitch, I'm back.
Hey folks, MCU'S Bleeding Edge in the house on Saturday night. We don't usually live stream on Saturday evenings that much, but we're doing it this week because we have a special show. It's our pick your own MCU film top 10 ranking list, basically. We're working from 10 to 1. I'm not going to be moderating for once this evening. Brad the Con's actually taking over. I just wanted to start us off and just go ahead and run around and go to everybody and say hello to everybody. Matthew from Born to Watch is here. What's up, Matthew?
Hey, people. Very good. Once again, your favorite podcaster from the Southern Hemisphere, and the future is looking bright. We're still here.
Good background, sir. Aston, your background's looking good, sir.
Thank you very much. Mucho apreciado.
Gunnar, it's good to see you, brother. You're back in the MCU's Bleeding Edge fold again. Two appearances now in like a month.
You're not gonna complain about my dirty office, my halfway.
I was gonna say your green screen's not looking too hot, bruh. But
I don't do green screen. I keep it real.
Okay.
I show you my empty boxes.
You heard it, folks. Gunnar says he keeps it real. All right, that's cool. All right, so Rathacon, you ready? Are you ready, sir? Are you ready to take the reins?
Ooh.
Yes, I am.
Hang on a minute. Let me stop you there. I was not informed that Rathacon would be leading this.
Yeah, that's right. He's going to go into leadership mode tonight.
This is like saying that Ant-Man's leading the Avengers.
Dude, bro.
What is going on here?
Whoa, like
everybody deserves a chance, Matthew.
Hey, we haven't seen the Doomsday lineup yet. He might be leading the Avengers. We don't know.
Yeah, you never know. At least he didn't call me a Spider-Man, bro.
Why don't you go ahead?
Nothing but love, Con.
Brad, get us started, buddy. Let's get these rankings going and get into the RMCU talk so we can have some fun.
All right, guys. So, as you know, 10 movies, your top 10 MCU films. Let's start with number 10, guys. Let's start with Aston.
Hey. Glad to be here. And my number 10 is one of the best movies of 2018. Saw this in the theater. It was a crazy time. Black Panther, the first one.
Good one, man. That's a good one.
Oh, pretty interesting. Matthew?
Okay, I'm going with who you probably would have liked me to call you. I'm going with Spider-Man No Way Home is my number 10.
Bro.
Not often does a fan service movie work, but this one did.
That's very true. That's
a bold pick.
Yeah,
pretty bold.
Gunnar. I'm being bold.
All right, so my number 10 is kind of a placeholder at number 10 because I actually think it's a lot better than this. It's just too early to tell. My number 10 is Deadpool and Wolverine. It hit every mark. I loved it. I just haven't seen it enough to really truly rank it. I haven't really thought of it, but it needs to be on this list because it's one of my 10 favorites. So
because of the soundtrack?
I love the soundtrack. Soundtrack's great.
Jeff, best for last.
My number 10 is going to be Ant-Man and the Wasp. Quantumania. Not Quantumania. I'm just joking. Ant-Man and the Wasp, the second Ant-Man film. I think it's a very watchable like MCU classic, like cult classic kind of. If there's a cult classic kind of like trend for any MCU films, it's Ant-Man's films. The first two of them. You know, they just have like a certain comedic vibe to them that none of the other films have. You know what I mean? Like, and they have their own kind of niche, right? That film, I remember reviewing it and giving it like a 10 out of 10. It's actually really good. And Ghost, don't sleep on Ghost, the villain, because she could be good in Thunderbolts. You don't know. Like, she sucked in that. She was actually the weak link in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ghost was, but don't sleep on her for Thunderbolts. I'm telling you. So that's what I got.
Hey, I know
you seem to disagree. What are your thoughts?
It's not on anyone's list because I don't know. It wasn't Ant-Man Quantumania was not as bad as everyone makes out. It had its problems. It had big problems. Not as bad as everyone made it out to be. They fixed one or two things. I think we have a great movie. But as it is, I'm sure it didn't make anyone's list. It didn't make mine, but give a little love to Quantumania.
Go on, Matt.
A little love.
Yeah. No, look, none of the Ant-Mans made my list. And I really liked the first Ant-Man. I thought it was really cool, but it doesn't make my top 10. And so if the first one's my favorite and doesn't make my top 10, Ant-Man and the Wasp definitely doesn't.
Aston? Is this dude frozen or what?
Aston, you froze? I think he is. Yeah, he looks kind of diabolical.
Did I kill him by saying Quantumania wasn't that bad? Did he go to the quantum realm? I don't know.
Aston, if you can hear this, drop out and come back on.
Okay. Any last thoughts before we move on?
It's tough to fit. Like it's really tough. There's several films that could be number 10 for me. So it's tough to like nail it down. It really is.
Well, I left Deadpool and Wolverine out because I didn't think it's been out for long enough, but I did enjoy it. I thought it was very good. And it probably will end up in the top 10, but for now, I've just left it out because it's just longevity. That's all.
That's kind of how I felt. Like it's not quite in my top, but it's good enough to one day be there. Like it should be there in time. But I gotta give props. I mean, first R-rated Marvel flick. You gotta love that.
Aston, you back?
Yeah, my bad, guys. Had a buddy over and he moved the remote, and I got one of these new smart TVs. I'm used to monitors which don't turn off on you when you're using them, and it literally gave me the 5-minute warning. So I was literally running around the crib trying to find where the remote was. Sorry, totally on me, guys. Totally on me. College stoner move must have been. It's totally on me. No excuses.
Well, since I'm moderating, I'll be kind to you this time. Do you want to say anything about everyone else's picks?
I mean, I didn't get to hear a lot of them because I only heard the last one. So forgive me on that one. Can you just please, as the moderator, just hit me right quick with the names of the remaining ones?
Jeff, you said Ant-Man and Wasp?
Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then who I forgot what everybody else picked.
Matthew chose the guy who represents me.
No Way Home. Spider-Man, No Way Home.
Cold-blooded, man. Cold-blooded, man. I can't believe that's so
more cold-blooded, bro. He chose the new one.
Webb? Madame Webb?
I said the new one.
Madame Webb did not make my list.
I was about to be like, because he said the new one. I was like, new? Like that new? Oh, hell no, bro. I was like, I had to ask, but look, the list seems pretty solid so far. I was just surprised that a Spidey movie, if it made a list, would be that low, but okay, man.
Deadpool Wolverine.
Okay, guys.
Okay, coolio.
I say you better pay attention to this next round. Jeff, what is your number 9 pick?
Spider-Man Homecoming. I think it's the best Spider-Man film. The first one. It's the best one, I think. The Vulture is the best villain in the Spider-Man films and one of the best villains in the MCU ever. Just really played really well by Michael Keaton. And just a really great initial movie. It's a great opening film for Tom Holland. Great action, really watchable film, really enjoyable film. Holds up, over time. It's been around for a while now. That's my number 9 pick.
Gunnar.
All right, man. Number 9. I think a lot of people criticize me for having this movie this low. But, I mean, looking at this list, it's hard to pick 10. My number 9 is the original Iron Man. It's great. It makes my top 10. It started it all. But, yeah, I got it's almost a perfect movie. Number 9, Iron Man.
Matt.
Okay, my number 9. I'm probably going to get derided for this. Thor Ragnarok. Taika Waititi takes a massive risk in the MCU. First up for him. It's funny. It's so different to every other movie. But it's lighthearted, and whilst I like a bit of humour with my MCU, I think that what he then went on to do with Love and Thunder has shadowed this a little for me, Ragnarok. It just chill the fuck out, brother. and let's bring it back. But number 9 for me, Thor Ragnarok. It's a tough list. It's a tough 10. I got to say.
Very interesting. And Aston, you tell me your pick, and after that, you're free to fire shots on anyone.
Okay. For me, it's Ant-Man 1. Ant-Man 1. I was surprised that I even put it on the list, but I ain't going to give any spoilers for what's moving forward, but, it's definitely brave putting any of the Thor movies on the list. But, that's just me. And spoiler, I ain't got a single Deadpool movie here. That's as far as I'm willing to go with the spoilers. I ain't taking shots at none of you guys. I was just surprised, because I know my homie's got a great taste in flicks, man. And to put that Thor movie, the first one, but I can get it. I can get it. I can dig it. I can respect it. But
all right, Jeff, you want to fire some shots on anyone?
No. The first Ant-Man film is a really good film too. Just like it's just as good as the second Ant-Man film. I just the difference for me is the Wasp. I really like the Wasp in action. She was really good in that film, and really was like a standout for me. And besides that, yeah, Iron Man is a good movie. Iron Man is it's almost like you feel like you have to put it in your top 10. It's there's a lot of pressure there because it was the first MCU film. It's like the bedrock of the MCU, so it's always safe to put that, somewhere in your top 10. But I just could not find room for it, unfortunately.
Gunnar, you like the compliments?
Same thing with Black Panther. I didn't have any room for Black Panther either, but it's a really good movie.
Yeah, I love Black Panther. I couldn't fit it on my list either.
Gunnar, you like the compliment from Jeff? What else do you have to say?
No, man. I all these movies. I'm a very positive guy when it comes to these movies, and Marvel shows. Like, yeah, there's some turd nuggets here or there. I'm not gonna lie, but there's not been one that I've been like, seriously, like, you got this high. But let me just say, spoiler alert. I'll talk about some of these movies later that we talked about today. So, spoiler alert.
Okay, Matt. You're going to go guns blazing on this round?
No, not really, because Iron Man's in my top 10, but it's a lot higher. And, Ant-Man, I enjoyed Ant-Man. I really did enjoy Ant-Man. I said the number 1 Ant-Man movie is my favorite Ant-Man. Didn't make my list, but it's a good movie. It's hard. What Gunnar says is exactly true. It's really difficult to bag these. The shit ones are really shit, and they don't deserve to be in the top 10. But that sort of 10 to 15 is really difficult. It's really condensed. Like, if this was a top 15, it would be almost impossible. You could, it would actually be super easy because you could just have those 15 movies in there. But the top 10 I found to be difficult. So I'm comfortable with what's been said so far, and I'm going to keep my guns in my holster.
Okay. So you will bring them out sometime later.
I'm sure they'll come out, yes.
Sounds good. All right. Let's go to our number 8 pick. Gunnar, you first.
All right, man. Well, I got to agree with my boy here. Number 8, the original Ant-Man. Loved it, man. And I love Ant-Man and the Wasp. I really do. Again, we already talked about Quantumania, but this was the one that started it off, man. This one is great. I love the heist. I love the introduction of these characters. I love seeing Agent Carter at the beginning. Man, this is a great movie. It's a solid. It doesn't. Some of the MCU movies don't really hold up. I think this one holds up really well.
Pretty cool, Aston.
Okay, my number 8 movie. My number 8 movie is going to be Guardians 2.
Wow.
You want to elaborate?
Oh, okay. For me, I watched this one in the theater, and I really had a good time with the first one, and I felt it built upon it. I'm not going to say I loved everything about it. I'm not going to lie and say I loved everything about it, but I liked how it kind of played into the remaining MCU. This is all leading up to the climax of the Infinity movies. So I liked it. I felt it did better than the first one when it came to certain things like fighting, and like the stakes felt a lot higher in that one. And of course the cameo by Goldblum. Like, come on. there's no way I can like not leave this out of my list. It's got to make the top 10 for me. The chemistry I feel was turned up like to 20 in the second movie. They really got to have fun with the characters. They knew where they were. They had that confidence, and it definitely came across in when I saw it in theaters. And just the hype, everything, like it was worth it. I didn't feel disappointed at the end of the movie. So yeah.
Jeff?
Yeah, Guardians, the original Guardians movie. Great film. James Gunn at his best. Great soundtrack. Just overall, really entertaining, funny, action-packed, enjoyable ensemble, cast type MCU film that really I think came out of nowhere for fans and filled like a gap that wasn't there almost in the MCU movie universe. Went into the galactic territory, space and all that, you know what I mean, and spaceships and and aliens and all that kind of stuff. The cosmic, the MCU cosmic aspect took us there, and I think that was really big for Marvel Studios at that time to be able to go into that territory with a film like that, and they did a really good job coming up with the characters they decided to pick for the Guardians. You know what I'm saying? Like they had a lot of different characters to choose from to become the Guardians of the Galaxy. Who they picked to be the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then how they decided to do Nebula and evolve her character across the films, like in Guardians 2, how she starts to evolve. You see the evolution of her character. Throughout the Avengers films, it's really amazing. Seeing what they end up doing with her character. But that's all I got.
That's pretty cool. All right, Matt, you go, and you are free to do guns blazing after.
Okay, my number 8 is, this is why I couldn't have a crack at Jeff. Spider-Man Homecoming is my number 8. I agree. It is the best of the new Spider-Mans. Whilst we get a little taste of him in Civil War, he gets a first fully fledged movie. Tom Holland is a great Spider-Man. Finally, Spider-Man's a kid, not some sort of 20-something, 25-year-old or 30-year-old trying to play a teenager. We get a kid. We get a great supporting cast. We get a script that's fun but also funny, and it's a cracking fun. It's such a good film. Quite comfortably the best of the Spider-Mans, I think. And it's hard to disagree with anything that anyone said. Aston, bold selection, Guardians 2. Even though it's got my man Kurt Russell in it, I found it to be a step back from the original film. Still a good movie, but we'll talk a lot more about the Guardians in my list a lot further down. I'm out.
Interesting. Jeff?
Yeah.
I know he talked about Guardians. Do you have anything else to say about that?
No, not really. Just that it is pretty bold to pick Guardians 2 for the top 10. That's never one that I would have thought of to hear anybody really drop, to be honest with you. But it's within your own purview at the end of the day, who you like, what makes up your top 10. So from that perspective, you got to give everybody latitude with something, with one or two or three of their picks where, they might be something that might not be on your list in your head. We have to come back and do another one of these and do like a top 25 show or something that's longer. You know what I'm saying? Or like a top 15, like Matthew said. But all really solid picks so far. I think we're getting into like the real big meat picks now. And that's good.
So Aston, Jeff said he's surprised with Guardians 2 pick that you had. You want to counter?
Okay, it is definitely not the best Guardians movie for me. It definitely is not by any stretch of the word. Definitely, Kurt Russell gets a few points. Like I grew up with the guy, think he's a great actor. National treasure. But for me, I didn't like the third one. I didn't like how they did my boy Star-Lord. I felt, for me, I can forgive some of the mistakes in the second one, because I still left the movie theater, with that feeling of like, yeah, this was cool. Like, whereas with the latter one, I felt like it was an amalgamation of the previous two. I felt it really didn't do that much, but I felt at least the cast and the chemistry and like them busting out and all that, like it just like it worked for me. It worked for me. It really felt like they was on the run, and yeah, there was some weak points, but everyone else, like, definitely what our boy Maddie said, like, I can't disagree. Like, definitely the first teenage Spider-Man, like the one we grew up reading in comics. Yeah, it was a no-brainer, and I'm glad I heard it on the list. Would have expected it higher, but then again, no one expected the GOG2 here. So thanks for showing mercy, for real, guys.
Gunnar, are you going to show mercy to him or not?
You know what? I'm going to say this. When Guardians 2 came out, I got roasted on my podcast for how much praise I gave to Guardians 2. So, Mike, thank you, because I feel vindicated for the love that I gave it way back when. Again, no one has said Captain Marvel yet. So, like, everyone, I think, is I haven't had any complaints about not everyone's picks have made my list. And I actually didn't hate Captain Marvel, but I know Jeff did. So
It's better than the Marvels.
Marvels. Give me Kamala Khan in anything. The Eternals, we can all admit, was an Eternal.
Wait, you like Khan?
I love Kamala. I love Iman Vellani.
I do too. Iman Vellani's great.
I will put her in anything. I will love it. But yeah, man, all these movies are great. There's not one I've been like, really, that movie's it's Marvel, man. Come on.
Okay, guys. So number 7, Aston, do you want to start us off? Is this dude frozen?
Yeah, he's frozen. He gets some. There he is. He's back.
Is he?
He's doing his best Max Headroom.
He looks like Neo from the Matrix.
Dude, what happened?
Dude, I have no clue. I am literally plugged into my modem. Like, I have no idea why it's been doing this. I don't know. Maybe it's because of the camera. I'm using the SLR on this laptop this time, but I don't know why it's doing that, man. I don't know. I'll do the drivers and stuff again. I apologize. Surely.
Matrix is glitching.
And Gunnar was talking good about me just when I get cut off. I never get to hear the compliment.
Well, you have to watch it. You have to watch the show afterwards.
For sure, man. For sure, man. But I appreciate you, my man.
Likewise. Okay, Aston, be careful what you choose for your number 7th pick. Go.
Okay, my 7th pick is Guardians Uno.
Okay, Jeff, since you chose Guardians Uno for number 8, you want to go next?
Yes, I'm going with Ragnarok. Ragnarok is super watchable, super holds up like without question. Even though it's got a couple years on it, and it's really funny, and it has some really good action scenes. It's got a Hulk Thor one-on-one fight that's really good. It's got Loki in it, right? In his last really good film before he died basically. Then he went. It became the variant Loki, we got the Loki, spin-off Disney Plus series, right? That was cool. We got Valkyrie out of the mix, and I like Valkyrie. She's dope. So that was cool. It was using Bruce Banner in the film was a genius move for Marvel Studios. That was a really, really genuinely, really smart decision for them to put him in the film.
That's pretty cool. And if I recall, Matt, you put Thor Ragnarok at number 9. So what's your 7th pick going to be?
Okay, my 7th pick is Black Panther. New world, new tech, new characters. Wakanda is probably far and away the place where I'd like to holiday. If I could go for a holiday, I'd like to go to Wakanda. Beautiful Nubian princesses. Amazing technology, incredible. Black Panther 2 is a steaming pile of shit, but the first one is really, really good. Chadwick Boseman is obviously great. The one thing that annoys me about, and everyone loves Killmonger, they think he's amazing. Michael B. Jordan annoys me a little bit in the movie. But other than that, I think Black Panther was a good sort of move in a direction it needed to go to, and we needed Wakanda to be in the MCU, obviously, because of some of the technology moving forward. But yeah, good movie, fun, enjoyed it.
You said you
Number
want to
7.
go there for a lot of the princesses?
That's mainly why, I don't particularly care much about anything else. Just it looks like it's got very, very attractive women.
Jeff, I know you want to say something.
Oh, I've been there already. I smashed my way in. Remember? That's how I got it. I got my visa. I just smashed Wakandan Queens. I just smashed a bunch of Wakandan Queens.
Jeff, if you can leave me a list of the train that you've run through, so that I don't get your sloppy seconds, please.
Oh my. Okay, Gunnar, you're next, and you're free to go guns blazing.
All right. So I'm going to start with this because it's guns blazing, and it's my number 7. And great minds must think alike. Thor Ragnarok, man. It's everything you say. It is part of an amazing trilogy with, and look, if you ask me the 2 worst films before the end of the Infinity Saga, I'm going to tell you it's the first 2 Thor movies. I just felt like they never got Thor right. Starting with what Taika did with Ragnarok, going to Infinity War and Endgame, I feel like they finally got a tone for Thor that really paid off all the way in Endgame. And I mean, this movie's great. What they did with Hulk, they can't make a Hulk movie, so they make a Hulk movie and just call it Thor. I love Korg and Meek. One of the best lines in Marvel, it's a friend from work. I mean, this movie is great. I love what Taika did. People don't give Love and Thunder. They give it a lot of crap, but I feel like he did the exact thing in that he did in Ragnarok. I don't know why it didn't work as well. I just think it had such great source material that it couldn't live up to it. He didn't do a good enough job living up to that source material. I feel like they did Gore kind of dirty. That movie could have been a lot better. But having said all that, I'm a big Taika fan. What We Do in the Shadows is great. I love most of the things he's done, and I thought he did a great job with Ragnarok. So, and I mean, again, I can't criticize any of these other movies. They're all great. I got nothing negative to say about them.
I mean, Jeff, you chose the same one. Anything else you want to say, or you want to criticize other people's picks?
I'm ranking Aston's top 10 Iceman moments during the show.
Yeah, man, my bad, boss. For real, man. You gotta forgive me, man. I don't know why.
Oh, you're okay. You're okay, sir. You're all right. Yeah. I mean, obviously, Ragnarok is a really good movie. It's a movie that came out right on the cusp of Infinity War and Endgame coming out, right? So it was right there in that mixed with Captain Marvel, and Ant-Man 2 and all that, good pick so far. I think we're about ready to get our first Avengers movies being picked.
Okay, who wants to go next, Aston or Matt? Pick one.
I'll go. You're right, Jeff. First Avengers movie, the original Avengers, and this is my number 6. Again, if the original Iron Man movie is the catalyst for the MCU, then this Avengers film is the confirmation that we have something extremely special. I think that I remember walking out of the cinema and just going, I'm heading straight back to the ticket box to buy another ticket and go and see it again. I was fucking blown away from it. This is how you do ensemble cast filmmaking right, and they did it. What they've been able to do for the first 23 films or 24 films in the Infinity Saga was get that right, get that ensemble filmmaking right, get the share of the load right, get people having their time in the sun, getting everyone their little bit, and it was, this Avengers movie set the platform for everything that was to come after it. It was the 4th movie, I think, or the 5th movie made, and I think from then on it is just they're set. They can do whatever they want. Incredible. I love it. I still watch this regularly. I watched it probably 3 weeks ago again and watched it and was blown away again. Just love it every time. It's great.
Aston?
Definitely a great pick. Definitely a solid pick for me. My number 6 is Captain America: The First Avenger.
The first Avenger.
Yeah, allow me to expound. Saw this in theaters. Really had a good time. I thought they did it right. I think they got the dweeby guy. Like now, the CGI is kind of dated. You could tell it's not him at all. It's his face imposed on someone. He got a lot of points for me back in the day. I'm like, yo, like, dude really went there. Like, he was like Serpico. Like, I was there, you know. But the villain was Red Skull was done very well. Like, it wasn't hokey or cheesy, and that was my biggest fear. I'm like, you're bringing in Captain America. Like, they're going with the close to the comics as they could. Like, it's World War II. Like, this isn't something you can really make. Like, you can't be having gags and shit like that, man. This is like, and seeing it in the theater, everyone had a good time. And believe me, bro, they shot that crappy 90s Captain America movie in Croatia, bro. So believe me, we gave this dude a chance when nobody else did. Literally, I was in the theater, and people, like, when I saw, like, other dudes were like, yeah, it was good. They took a character which is known in the comics to be, you know, pretty clean cut. They make fun of it later, but it was great. I felt it really landed, and it was like, okay, now we have the Trinity. We had Iron Man, we had Thor, and now we got our boy Cap. Like, you know, we got those first three big dudes, and of course, you know, thou that shall not be named, Edward Norton Hulk. But we had the original Avengers, so yeah.
That's very interesting. I did not know it was shot in Croatia. And Matt, if I recall, weren't one of the other Captain America films filmed in Australia, or was it like another Marvel film?
There's been a few Marvel films filmed in Australia. I can't recall off the top of my head which ones they are, but there has been. We've got a fairly substantial studio here on the Gold Coast where I live, where there's been a few of them done. Bits and pieces of it, yeah. So I'll do some research and get back to you.
Okay, so is any of them your number 6 pick?
No. Avengers was not filmed here in Australia.
I'm sorry to hear that, man. I think it was filmed in Gunnar's area in Chicago.
No, I think they shot it in New York.
Oh, wait, Matt. Do you want to explain real quick about Avengers, and then we go to Matt? And then we go to Gunnar.
Why the Avengers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have done that. I went first, mate. Your moderating's getting, you know.
Come on.
This is.
I smoked, but he got high. He got high. It's my fault.
I did go, didn't I? Are we in the quantum realm at the moment? I just wanted to see whether.
Yeah, we're in the quantum realm. I'm in the nightclub, bro.
He's trying to get your after pick thoughts, I believe, sir, is what he's trying to get.
Oh, right. No, okay. So my after pick thoughts. Cap 1, I didn't like Cap 1 when I first saw it, but I have grown to respect that movie, and I actually watched it not that long ago again, maybe 6 months ago. I think it's a great movie, really good fun. They did it really well. I agree, Aston, that even though the CGI is a little off at the start, I think it's a great origin story. Look, half of my list are origin stories, and whilst Cap 1 didn't make my list, it's right there at that right at pushing for 10th spot. I really enjoyed it. Red Skull, Hugo Weaving, you know, great actor, Australian. There you go. So, and it's a shame that they couldn't get him to do the later movies where they used the Red Skull. But yeah, no, good call there. Again, it's hard to pick on anyone's movies because we're getting now. I think they're all going to be good. You've mentioned Ragnarok as well, so it's all.
Wrath, I never picked.
I was like surprised with Matt. I'm just like, listen, like I ask you to emphasize why Avengers, and you just go on talking about Aston, bro.
I was just trying to be respectful.
I told him to.
Avengers is like these top 6. There's like shaving percentages between these 6 movies, I reckon. And I think whilst, to be honest, for my next 6 movies are very Avengers heavy.
They are. Gunnar, any Avengers on your number 6?
No, actually. But my number 6 is one that I think, look, it's not my favorite of this trilogy, but it's the only one that made this list. And I put it on here because it did everything it set out to do and it nailed it perfectly, and that's No Way Home. I loved No Way Home. Like someone that, I was an adult when those Spider-Man movies came out. And they to finally see Andrew Garfield, which I wasn't a fan of his 2 movies, but to finally see him get his due and to hear people say, man, I'd love to see Amazing Spider-Man 3. I would too, because I think he did such a great job. It was the worst kept secret in the world. We all know that. Everyone knew that these people were coming back, but like to hear that theater start applauding when Andrew Garfield walked in, it was like, man, that's awesome. Because I like Andrew Garfield as an actor. I really do. Australian, isn't he? Or is he English?
No, I think he's English.
Oh, he's English. Okay. Yeah. But
we'll claim him though if you want.
You can have him. Yeah. But yeah, I just it did everything I wanted it to be. Like most of the time you get in Multiverse of Madness, it was everything I wanted it to be for 4 minutes. That whole scene when he was flowing through all the different universes, that was the madness of multiverse. That's it. That's where the madness ended. But I feel like No Way Home filled the role I wanted it to fill. I wanted to see all these people back. My only disappointment was I kind of wanted to leave it with everyone in the MCU. I want there to now be a Doc Ock in the MCU and now have a Sandman in the end. Like that's my only complaint. I wanted, because that's one way to bring them all in. But I get it. Sony and Spider-Man rights are all messed up. But
sort it out.
Yeah, man, I love No Way Home. I really did. And I think Homecoming's better. I do think it's better than Far From Home, but No Way Home was great. Loved it.
Pretty cool. And Jeff, I save you best for last. You go a free pick, and you're free to nuke anyone.
Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron is super watchable.
Jeffrey.
It's super watchable. It's a really good film that gets sandwiched just because it's not as good as the original Avengers or Infinity War or Endgame. So it gets sandwiched into the periphery of Avengers films, but it's actually really damn good. If you really watch the whole thing all the way through, it's really good to put on in the background as a movie to have in the background. You can't go wrong with it because like it's not the best movie in the world, but there's great action scenes, right? And it's the Avengers, like flexing, being the Avengers. You know what I'm saying? So it's tight. It's Age of Ultron, baby. It's fucking dope. So that's what I got.
You're not going to criticize anyone?
No, I mean, I'm not going to criticize anybody. No. I think that Captain America: First Avenger is a bold move. But it's a really good film. The original Avengers movie is like a classic. It's in its own league. Like in its own way. You know what I'm saying? So there's that, and then Far From Home. I mean, I don't know. It's not top 10 for me at all because I didn't like the film that much. I think Spider-Man Homecoming is much better personally, but that's just my personal take. So, but Doctor Strange Multiverse of the Madness is rough. It's rough, baby. It's rough. It's like one of those lady boys or whatever.
Wait, what lady boys?
In Thailand. You know what I'm saying? One of the lady boys. It's rough.
Wait, what lady boys?
The ones in Phuket.
Bro, wait, they went to... No, they didn't go to Phuket. I know Matt was talking about some princesses in Wakanda, man. Do you want to, like, obliterate anyone else, Matt, right now?
I just need to look, Jeff, true knowledge is lack of knowledge at the moment, right? And as much as I love him, you can't say that your 6th favourite MCU movie is good to play in the background. Right? You cannot say that. You've fucking gone against yourself. Like
I don't rewatch a lot of MCU films, so like
I know they're in the background noise for what's going on in the bedroom, right? I know that.
Yeah,
I know that's what it is. It's all about mood setting.
I gotta put something on to start to fill the mood, fill the atmosphere. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And you're sort of like, well, I'll show you my Sokovia if you show me yours, right?
Yeah.
But there's some good bits in Age of Ultron. The bit with Cap and Mjolnir, there's some good parts to it. I agree, but I think compared to the other three Avengers movies, it's sixth out of 4. Like, it doesn't compare to the other three. But I get you. It's got some bits, but you can't say that it's good for the background, mate. You can't. It can't be your 6th favorite movie and it's good background noise.
It's good to go to sleep to.
Wow.
Oh, it's getting better. It's getting better.
Wow, cold-blooded, man. Cold-blooded.
Keep going, Aston. I know you like to get your balls licked, so you're gonna tell other people.
Oh, we all, bro. Us OGs know what that's like, bro. We didn't have to ask broads back in the day. It was part of the service. Part of the service. But yeah, like I was shocked that Age of Ultron made the list because it is for me to me it's the weakest Avengers movie, bro. But that it's background, like, damn, bro, like you really don't like these movies that much, huh? Damn. Bro.
How did one on number 6?
As background, like, bro, I put the NBA on as a background thing. Score from downtown. I put some NBA, bro, or a live LP or something. Even Oasis, bro, because they clapping every 5 minutes, bro. Keeps going. I'm the Croatian cannon, okay?
Hey, Gunnar, I know you like to keep it real, man. Like, what do you play in the background?
Oh, I thought you wanted me to destroy some movies.
Yeah, destroy too. Yeah, destroy them. Tell them, like, yeah.
Was that a jerking off?
No, that was me pumping the spot and they're blown away. No.
That was the Lady Boys.
Oh my god, bro.
This round, none of these movies made my top 10. Let me start with Age of Ultron. It was, when I saw it, the biggest disappointment maybe I've ever seen in a movie. But it is also right now the most improved movie. When I watch it now, it had Phantom Menace syndrome, where I really feel that it did not live up to the hype that I built in my mind for this movie. I thought it was going to be so great, and it really wasn't. When I first saw it, I was so disappointed. But after all the time's gone by, after watching it, a half dozen times, since I've seen it, it is by far the most improved of any Marvel movie, from hating it to now. James Spader was awesome in that movie. He really was. Granted, it wasn't the movie I wanted, but the movie that I got, I'll take it. It didn't make my list. Captain America, the First Avenger, and the Avengers, if we're looking at the first 3 phases up to Endgame, those 2 movies in my bottom 5. I was not really a fan of them as much as the others. Cap looks so cheesy. That outfit he wore was so bad. Like what they did with that uniform in Captain America 2 and Winter Soldier, night and day. Like I just felt that I just felt like those movies, and look, I'll get into it a little later on. I wasn't into Marvel movies then. The first Avenger was the first one I saw in the theater, and it was way after the movie came out. It was when they re-released it, for a week after it already come. I wasn't into Marvel movies. Now, obviously, later on in my list, you'll find out what got me into it. But yeah, I didn't have the anticipation of an Avengers movie, because I wasn't into Marvel. I wasn't into the comics. I wasn't into any of the movies. The only one I'd seen up to that point were first 2 Iron Man, and I saw them on Netflix mail away. Netflix mailed the DVD to my house. So, hey, I love the movies now. I love them, but they're still towards the bottom of the first couple phases up until Endgame, whatever we want to call that, the Infinity Saga. They're not the last 2, but they would probably be in my bottom 5.
Seems like you insulted a lot of people.
I probably did, but I stand by what I say.
Should we start a war right now, or should we move on to number 5? What do you guys want?
Kayfabe is so on this one.
Move on.
Move on. Okay, let's go to number 5.
Early 80s wrestling, bro. This ain't even WWE
Aston,
anymore. This
5.
territory's fighting.
Aston, we're going to number 5.
I'm probably
I
gonna
know you want to start wars, but
I know I'm going to piss people off with my number.
we're going to do the war in your number 5. How about that? Jeff, you want to go first?
Yes, I will go first. Number 5, Captain America: Civil War. Enough said, right? What else is there to say? Right? It's classic Captain America. Great Avengers action with the Avengers, having the Avengers in the film, basically, right? I love that line of the Avengers that they had in that movie with Scarlet Witch, right? And Vision and all that shit. That was a dope lineup of the Avengers. It was really dope. We didn't get to see it very much, but the scene where Cap fights Crossbones was dope. That was a dope scene. And the end scene, the end fight with Tony and Winter Soldier and Cap is like a classic. So that's all I got, sir.
Okay, Gunnar, you already said a lot of people. You want to upset us again with your number 5th pick?
Yeah, okay. So I am a big proponent of ending things properly. I hate watching a TV series where it ends and the show doesn't end. You could have another season if you want. I want a movie and I want it to have a definitive ending. You can't have, it can't go on and you can't have a new installment of it. And that's where my number 5 is. I loved it. Again, it hit almost every mark it was intending to hit, especially for me.
Wait, so what's the movie then?
Guardians 3. I loved it. I loved Guardians Volume 3. Loved it. I know it's high, top 5. I know, but man, I could watch the movie right now and smile the entire time. It's so good.
Okay, Aston, I'm shocked, so I'm just gonna let you go because I am confident you probably have a more appealing pick. I'm just kidding.
I ain't got too much to say about his pick. I didn't think it was all that bad. For me, number 5 is the first Avengers movie. Like I have to have it in like my top 5. If I would be going against myself. My biggest regret was not seeing this one in the theaters. That's like one of my biggest regrets. I think I saw it the second time around when they did a re-release or something. Like because I didn't watch this when they came out, and I was really disappointed. I felt it was great. All the Iron Man, it paid off seeing him. He came in as the leader he was supposed to. I'm definitely gonna have to piggyback of what Maddie said. Like watching that movie, you realized, okay, buckle up. Like we finally got what we wanted. Like our entire lives. No more cheap budget Captain America on a crappy motorbike TV show. No Flash dude in the spandex who looks more like a bodybuilder than a sprinter. Like none of that. We're going to start getting sort of like AAA games. That was the moment I realized, you know what? It's going to pay off in our lifetime. I don't care what happens afterwards, but I'm going to enjoy the ride. And Avengers, first Avengers movie.
Well said. And Matt, you know the drill. Say your 5th pick, and just go guns blazing. Nuke all of them. You know what to do.
Okay, probably the biggest swing for the MCU to the date of this movie, Winter Soldier, Cap 2, Winter Soldier. Something completely different to what we'd had up until now. It sort of flipped it on its head. That 70s spy flick. It's very different, everything we see. We learn a lot about the backstory. Obviously, learn Bucky's story. We learn the implications this is going to have moving forward for the MCU, for Tony. We learn a lot in that film. I think it was great, really well done. I find myself going back to that and watching that quite regularly nowadays. I just think it's that kind of movie where you do get that superhero feel, but there's with a little bit of side of espionage and that. Like you feel like you're watching a 70s sort of Robert Redford movie, which is hilarious because he's in it. But I just really enjoy The Winter Soldier. I think it's a cracker. Number 5.
So you're not going to criticize anyone else's
Yeah,
pick?
I am going to criticise. Because Gunnar just lashed out at us, I'm saving some. Like Guardians 3... I don't know. Like for me, it's the third in the Guardians. I think it was just a disappointment for me. I think that it just became. I think they diminished a lot of the work that they did in the first, especially in the first film, because I think they did it in the second film, then even in the third film. I just don't get me wrong. I love the Guardians. I think, and I'm on the 5th pick, and I haven't picked the original film yet, so that's coming. But I couldn't have the third one in my top 10. That's about it. I just think it's not. I just didn't think it was as good. I think it was a bit that. I don't like what they did to Star-Lord. I think they sort of clipped him a bit. They made him, I don't know. There's something just didn't resonate with me with the third one. It almost felt a bit try-hardy, and it also felt like James Gunn has got one foot out the door and had been promised he'd do something, and he had his eye on other things. But the characters are awesome, but I just think, I don't know, it just didn't click with me. But, more power.
So, Gunnar, I'm about to let you go, but I saw Aston was agreeing with Matt. So, Aston, do you want to double down on what Matt said before Gunnar releases the cannons?
Yeah, prior to the vitriol wave. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to back my boy from down under, I definitely got to back him on that. The third one was, you nerfed the guy, you left him, pretty much. I don't watch Marvel movies to see my reality, okay? Bitches moving on, faking their deaths to get away from me, me putting on weight in places I'm not supposed to, I thought this was a Marvel movie, but her ex is still her cousin who hated us, it's all just weird, man. I didn't like the third one so much, it ain't in my top 10 for a reason. I'm just saying, man. But I love you, Gunnar. Come on, man.
And wait, real quick, Gunnar. Wait, Jeff, do you want to double down on what the other two have said about Guardians 3, or are you planning to talk about something else?
I like Guardians 3. So it's not tough to see it. I can't imagine putting it in my top 10. You know what I'm saying? But that's all I'm gonna say.
All right, Gunnar, do you want to go guns blazing?
Yes, I've said what I said about Avengers already, and I'll explain more later. But I got nothing negative to say about anything. More negative to say about anything. Look, I like to see growth in the characters, and so James Gunn, he was fired and came back, but I love Kraglin, and I feel like this was the first time Kraglin was actually kind of part of the team. I like seeing the bigger part by Cosmo. It just made me smile. But I got nothing negative to say about the other films. I've said what I got to say, and only smiles going forward.
Well, since you're a good sport, Mike, I want you to go first and tell me your number 4 pick.
All right. So, look, I said that I was not a Marvel fan, and I'm sure people hated me for that. But then a friend of mine said, hey, let's go see this movie. Again, it was a couple weeks into the run. I'm like, okay. And this is going to sound cheesy, but seriously, it changed my life. I saw this movie and I was completely blown away. I'm like, this is a comic book. You can make a comic book movie like this. And then it started a run of these amazing movies, one after another, that got me so sucked into this whole universe that 5 years later, I was doing a Marvel podcast because I became that much of a Marvel fan. And this movie, honestly, all these in my top, ask me tomorrow, this might be number 1. It should be number 1, but I love all 4 of these so much. But man, Captain America Winter Soldier was so good. Everything about it was perfect, especially for someone outside of the Marvel world. This movie got me to get into comic books. I got the Marvel Unlimited a couple years after this because I was so in all the way. So, man, as great as a movie as it was, the impact it had on my fandom, I owe so much to this movie. It's so great. I could put this number 1 right now and not even complain about everything else. Number 4 right now because I got some things to say about the other ones as well. But, man, I love Winter Soldier so much.
That's awesome, man. Great story. Jeff, everything good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Laptop died?
No, I just wanted to move locations.
Oh, walking the dog, right? Are you walking
I just
dog,
I wanted to
Dodger?
no, I'm getting high.
Hey, should we let you go last and let you get the high first, or do you want to go right now? Jeff, we can't hear you, dude. 4.
You can't hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now. Okay, what
4?
you want to? I can hear you.
What pick are we on?
4.
Okay, my number 4 pick is Avengers Endgame. And I put it there because you'll see my top 3, obviously, and that will explain this, basically like why I would go with Endgame at 4. But I have the original Avengers movie at number 3. And I've got Endgame. I've got Endgame at 4 because Infinity War is my number 1 Avengers movie.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler.
So
we're not doing all of your top 4, Jeff. Just the 4th movie.
I know. That's my 4th movie. It's
my 4th movie is
Avengers Endgame.
All right, Matt. What's your number 4?
Okay, my number 4 has been mentioned already. I'm surprised it's only been mentioned once, but it's the original Iron Man. It's the original Iron Man. It's where it all began. I'm an Origin guy. Loved this movie. When I saw this movie in the movies, I was like, holy shit. The limo scene at the start with him giving cheek to the friggin' soldiers. The script, it was so punchy, so fast. The ultimate gamble on a fucking washed up drug addict that paid off. And without this movie, there's no MCU. If this movie fails, we don't get 33 other movies. So this is almost as important as the movie that I have at number 1. It's probably more important than the movie I have at number 1, but in regards to what we get moving forward, we don't have anything without this. And I think it's that important to the MCU Iron Man. And Robert Downey Jr. just absolutely smashed it.
That's awesome. Aston, tell us your number 4, and I will let you go guns blazing on everyone else.
I can't really be guns blazing on nobody because I don't think the picks are all that crazy, but you wouldn't believe it. My number 4 is
Yeah, brother.
Oh,
yeah, brother.
Yeah, bro. Like, I'm gonna have to just double down. I'm gonna double down on this one because, like, we all grew up. Like, well, yeah, we're all old enough to have grown up with Robert Downey Jr. We've seen him in all those flicks. We remember him from Flatline. We remember him also falling off. I remember him from Weird Science. Like, I remember this guy's face and him making the return. And if I remember correctly, his first actual movie was Gothica with Halle Berry. And I remember he did such a good job in that. I was like, okay, I didn't even know. I didn't get it. Like, I knew he was in and out of rehab and stuff. I mean, rappers were rapping about it. He was actually in jail with Pac. Facts. You can Google that. They were in the same jail when he got caught with that ish in the 90s. So, yes, this movie was the redemption story of an actor who he sold it. You care for the guy off the first movie. There's nothing else after this. You know, we had Terrence Howard in there. Like, I still think he's the best War Machine. I don't care. And he could teach you some math while he's at it. One thing I didn't like, the one thing that I didn't like, which is why I didn't move this up a little further up, was that the end, like the villain and the ending was like, I love what he did at the very, very end, but I would have preferred maybe, leave a little something, for another movie, because notice I don't got no other Iron Man movies in this. Like, they just too sad, my dude. They just too sad. But I felt, because a lot of people, well, not a lot, but enough people joke and say that Iron Man is the answer to DC's Batman. They're both super rich. They're both super smart, except one guy has a Lucius Fox, whereas this guy is the Lucius Fox and not so much the detective. So, and let's be real, most of us would rather be Iron Man, because if the government says something, it's like, yeah, try stop me, I'm gone. I'm gone, pay me. Iron Man won. Mic drop.
Oh, okay, Gunnar. So you got two people here. They said Iron Man's their number 4th pick, and you said it was number 9. And Jeff never mentioned Iron Man at all so far.
Yeah, my only thing is Don Cheadle, one of my favorite actors in Hollywood for the last 20 years. I've loved him since Moving Violations in the 80s, his first ever movie. I've loved Don Cheadle. Nothing against Terrence Howard. Hustle and Flow is great, but yeah, that would be my only negative thing about Iron Man. I love it. It's obvious. It's on my list. It had Peter Billingsley, Ralphie from A Christmas Story, as the guy that had to make something out of a box of scraps. My first celebrity interview outside of wrestler Mr. Fuji when I worked in radio. So I got love for Peter Billingsley. So yeah, nothing negative to say about Iron Man at all. I loved it. It was great.
Jeff, are you high?
Yes, sir. I'm definitely high. I'm feeling good.
You want to say anything but other people's picks?
No, not really. I'm good on this round. I don't really have anything to say about Iron Man. I already talked about the original Iron Man film earlier, and besides that, I don't really have any other thoughts. I'm ready to move on to the next round.
Cool, Matt. Last thoughts before we move to number 3.
No, I'm all happy with this. He's redeemed himself and with Winter Soldier, and you're back. Australia now appreciates you, mate.
Okay. With that, Matt, can you start off number 3?
Okay, here we go. The top 3. Now, this will be probably controversial, and I'm only going to give my 3rd pick, not all 3, like some other people try to do. So, my number 3 is Avengers Infinity War. And this will be controversial. When we did the Infinity War and Endgame reviews on MCU, I was pretty much shouted down for the rating I gave Infinity War. And I do love it. I think it's great. It starts the beginning of the end. It's a massive spectacle. Look, there's a few dumb decisions in the movie, but, it has to in order to make the narrative flow on. But it's not we'll get to this, but if I'm going to watch an Avengers movie nowadays, it's probably going to be Endgame. And which is the only reason why, again, this top 3 is probably separated by 0.01%. So it's Infinity War, and only because it is the first chapter of what becomes one of the greatest finales in a cinema franchise in the history.
Interesting, Jeff.
Yeah.
You were revealing your top 3. What was number 3 again?
My number 3 is the original Avengers film, because it is a classic. It deserves to basically have its own space, I think, in the MCU ranking hierarchy, because it was the first go. Iron Man set the table, but landing the Avengers film and pulling that off was the big pinnacle for Marvel Studios. That was the big slope, was pulling off the team film. So I think there was a lot of pressure, with that production. And what they yielded out of it is just pure cinematic gold. It's a treasure of a film. Josh Whedon did a great job. Maybe he didn't do so good with Age of Ultron, but he did a great job with the original Avengers. It's a great movie.
Very interesting. So you would not play this in the background?
No.
This is $4,000 Avengers. $4,000.
Hey, Aston, can you tell me your your 3rd pick?
My number 3, just a sec. Let me just double check it because I'm out here having a fagola.
Wait,
a cigarette.
Shot, bro.
1 second. It's
I thought he was getting his balls licked.
dude, man, I wish. No, it's Spider-Man No Way Home. I had to put it at 3. Amazing movie. I thought if you're gonna do a great end to a trilogy or whatever you were setting up they had going on, it really got me in the feels. They went somewhere where I didn't think they would. I would say it's one of the best uses of the multiverse, because you had all of your favorite heroes show up. We had Garfield come back, which I enjoyed him like thoroughly. I thoroughly enjoyed him making his comeback. It had everything you needed. You had fan service, you had believable battles, you had Willem Dafoe. Yeah, it's. I think it's the movie we all deserved, and I think the MCU has been coasting on the success of that movie for the last couple of years until Deadpool and the Wolverine came out. I think that was since that there, in my opinion, there hasn't been anything remotely close to good quality. So I had to put this in my top three. Tom Holland's performance. I think it's I think they understated what that kid brought to this franchise. He really got kids interested again. I didn't see anyone shipping that hard like him and Zendaya, like everything. Like
Zendaya.
My bad, man. I'm sorry, man. Like I didn't like her, but I loved him, like his portrayal. So the fact that they literally permeated pop culture, like it did something what the Iron Man movie did. So I had to have it. I had to score it a scotch above Iron Man.
So you would get your balls licked by her, like you're willing to have that.
Hey, I would lick her. Bro. I would eat shit out her ass like it's chocolate, bro. Like it's Snickers.
Gunnar, before this gets too inappropriate, you want to go?
Sure. Like I said, my top four, you can put them in any order. And this one I think is as important as Winter Soldier. This trailer came out before Winter Soldier came out. And I just remember thinking, what is this? I never heard of these comic book characters, but because this movie was so great, and I'm sure everyone knows what it is now, because it was so great. Again, after I saw Winter Soldier, I saw the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and I'm like, okay, I thought I was in before. I am completely in now. Perfectly cast Andy Dwyer as a superhero from Parks and Rec. It worked. It worked so well. Dave Bautista, the WWF wrestler, as Drax. Awesome. Howard the frickin' Duck. By the way, the first ever Marvel movie. Just so you know. Making a cameo. This movie was so great. It was so perfect. You got Thanos. You got your first look at Thanos. Lee Pace was great as Ronan the Accuser.
Wait, what movie is this?
This is Guardians
1.
First
Guardians 1. Okay.
And if this movie was a turd nugget, I don't know that I would have made the next movie. I really don't. But this movie was so great, just like Winter Soldier. Again, I could put this number one without batting an eye. It's number 3 on my list, but I can't think of one complaint about Guardians of the Galaxy. It's the music was amazing. The trailer got me in, but seeing it actually lived up to the hype of that Guardians.
Yeah. You want to talk about either Aston wanting to eat Zendaya's bum or Gunnar's Guardians? What do you want to talk about?
I think I'm surprised he got Guardians 1 in his top 3, but I could definitely see why he would. It's a good movie. It's a good movie, and like what Matt said, when you're in this territory, it's tough to really. You can't really dismiss any of the picks so far. Everything has just been like when you're throwing heat, it's over, man. Like I can definitely see how it's in the top 3 because it does everything right. It reminds me so much of Farscape. The fact that they got Browder back in for the third one, he deserved like everything because to me, Pratt copied him. And that's my shout out and nothing but love to Australia. You guys deserve like $1 million fucking dollars a year just for that show ever coming out and keeping the lights on for the Sci-Fi Channel. So yes, I agree with all the picks and yes, I like that movie too. That's why I have it in my top 10. So.
Jeff, you want to talk about Aston's?
No.
Anyone else's?
I'm good.
You don't want to talk about how you want to eat chocolate off of Zendaya's bum?
No, I've got nothing to say about that.
How about you, Matt? You want to go?
Can I just take a break? I've just got to go and have some Snickers. I got a hankering for it for some reason.
Dude, Aston, why did you say that?
I've been on, I don't know, I reckon this would be, I don't know, how many, Jeff, 15 to 20 shows of MCU I've been on. That's probably the best call in the whole time. Well done, Aston. You are a national marvel. Croatia should be proud.
Okay, number 2, guys. Jeff, I know you're great with all of this stuff. I know Aston's a great competitor, but I know you got something hot for number 2, man. You got to tell us what it is.
Yeah, Avengers Infinity War, because it just a spectacle to watch in the theater. Exhilarating movie in the theater. Real spectacle. Such an ensemble movie, such an ensemble film, and such a big leap for the MCU, at that time to extend, out that far into the Marvel Cinematic Universe and pair all these different characters together. It was just a huge leap for them. And, seeing Chadwick Boseman again, killing it, he was really good in the film. It was his last big role in the MCU, hats off to Chadwick. Infinity War, Avengers Infinity War. That's my number 2 pick. I'm out.
Okay, Gunnar. You have anything hot and steamy for number 2?
All right. So, like I said, there was a run of them.
Hot and steamy. Whoa, man.
Yeah.
This guy's married
Steamer.
with kids.
Cleveland Steamer.
Yeah. So there's a run of Marvel movies that were great. And of course, I've already talked about Age of Ultron. But Marvel redeemed itself because they made the best Avengers movie. It was called Captain America Civil War. It was the Avengers movie I wanted. And what they did so great with this movie is it was a sequel to Age of Ultron, but it was also a sequel to Captain America. You brought back Bucky. You brought back Peggy Carter. You had her death. You had Sharon Carter in it. You just brought back. You made it the perfect sequel to both movies. And one thing that kind of got me a little bit in Iron Man 3, which I love Iron Man 3, but what bothered me was there's this Avengers team. But now there's this end of the world conflict and no other Avenger could get off the couch to help him. This movie, they kept it going. It would make sense. And I loved how Black Widow showed up in Winter Soldier. That made sense. She's an Avenger. Cap's an Avenger. They would be working together. That made perfect sense. This movie, the first half is an Avengers movie. And granted, then they throw the Bucky thing in. So I love Civil War. I thought it was the best Avengers film when it came out. And I think because I got Civil War, it's part of the reason that I got over hating Age of Ultron. Now, I love Age of Ultron. I don't know how far it would be if I ranked all 30 whatever movies. I don't know how high it would make it.
Number 1 pick.
But it would make it a lot higher than it did when I first saw it. So I love Civil War. It was great. Everything you wanted in an Avengers movie and everything you wanted in a Cap movie all rolled up in one.
That's pretty cool, mate. I know, Matt, you were looking like, did you look at my picks?
Yeah, look, I love Civil War. I think it's great. It didn't make my list. But it's one of those ones where it is a great movie. But for me, I think it felt like it wanted to be an Avengers movie, but also wanted to be a Cap movie as well. And I think that's just where it missed it for me. And, an Avengers movie without the Hulk, come on. Avengers movie without Thor, come on. And whilst I did enjoy the good and the bad side and not knowing exactly who was who, right? I like that you think that it would be Tony that would be in the Cap role and Cap would be in the Tony role. I think that flip is great. But for me, it's a great... I can't bag the pick because I think it's a great movie. Just didn't make my 10, that's all.
Oh, so what's your number 2 then? If it's
I've done my number... my number 2 is Endgame. And it is Endgame because... And I know this is probably a little bit controversial. It's just the perfect ending. Jeff's walking the dog. The perfect ending to 24 movies. I couldn't have done it any better. And I know it's a little bit fluffy and there's a hell of a lot of probably unnecessary stuff in it. It might be a little bit too long. But just how they managed to tie the whole thing together it was just perfection. The link back to the very first movie with I Am Iron Man is fucking flawless. Like when he said that in the cinema, I nearly came in my pants. Like you know he's going to say it, and it is just perfection, right? And anyone that listens to Born to Watch knows that I'm a little bit of a crier when it comes to movies. I'm easily swayed to tears. I reckon I cried 3 times in this movie. Avengers Assemble, Peter coming back. Like there was just like hit after hit after hit, and I walked out of there thinking that was fucking amazing. But I was also despondent, thinking that's the end. Oh my god! Like it can't get any better than that.
Did you say you peed your pants?
No, come, semen.
How do you come in Endgame? Like,
mate, when he says I am Iron Man, fuck off. Is there ever a better line read that is as poignant to 24 movies as that? The sacrifice, him knowing he's going to die, him not wanting to be involved in this anyway because he's got his own family, but knowing that he's the only one that can do this. Tony Stark's the fucking man. Like, and in that 5 minutes, that I am Iron Man line, in my opinion, will go down as one of the great line reads in fucking history. It is unbelievable for that film. Love it.
Jeff, you look like you want to say something, man. You want to say it?
Oh, no, I'm just listening.
Oh, okay. I know, Aston, you were like, when he said that, like, what's your number 2 pick? And go criticize anyone and everyone.
The splooging and spunking in the pants is a bit much, man, but maybe that's because I'm from the hip-hop sphere, man. We just say pause on all that. I got to pause that, but, you know, I got nothing but love for you, but I got to pause that. Yeah, that definitely is spoilers. It's still in the list, but yeah, bro, you threw me off with that one, but I get it. Everything. I'm a bit of an emotional guy too, man. Seeing what happened in the. Can I say? Is it my turn to say my number dos?
Please
Or
go. Tell me your number 2 pick.
Okay, numero dos is the Avengers: Infinity War. So so I'm with Matt on this one. I just gave it like I gave this movie the alley-oop, so it could slam and bring it home like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, man.
Jeff almost said that was also his number 2 pick.
Yeah.
Hey, for me, like Infinity War was because I so fondly remember reading the Infinity Gauntlet, like actually reading what they like derived all this stuff from, and they did some stuff right, and it was translated pretty well. The way all the heroes showed up, the way they interweaved everything. This was like Infinity War is to me like prime them doing it right when it comes to including all of the characters. They didn't have scenes that felt like throwaway scenes. I haven't seen it in a while, but I saw that movie at least 4 times, and each time it's like, yeah, the build up to everything. Like you don't have something like Infinity War. It was, you knew that you had to watch the next one, and waiting for the next one, like that's how I could tell it was good. My bad, Chief.
Jeff, what did
Just
you
cut
do?
me off. Straight took me off the camera. He's like, "You ugly Slav. There's no room for you."
Wait, where's Jeff, bro?
Jeff's probably logging back in on the desk.
Yeah,
Dude,
he's.
okay.
I know he's been voting like in the German elections lately, man. He does. He doesn't want us foreigners taking up bandwidth.
Oh, here he is. He's back again.
Dude, we're all European except for me.
No, you're European too, bro. Everyone's European when they go in the bathroom. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, wait, what? What?
Dude, what are you doing when you take a leak in the bathroom? European. Like we're all European in the John, man. Like what? Come
Gunnar.
on.
Okay, Gunnar. So we've heard Matt talk about he comes, not pees his pants when he's watching Avengers Endgame. But do you want to say anything about people's picks?
Nope. Excellent.
You don't want to talk about how he comes his pants at Endgame?
Nope.
See,
Are you scared?
see, this is the whole Australian American thing where I'm quite happy to admit that I nearly came in my pants, whereas Gunnar, his American's a little bit more shy about it, and I can tell by the look on his face there might have been a little bit of pre-cum for him. There might have been.
I mean, Jeff is pretty bold. Jeff, you want to say anything?
No, I don't need to say I did not have any kind of like orgasmic event during Endgame or anything like that. It wasn't like that for me. I didn't have a hard on. I cried a lot though.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Matt,
I like crying during sex personally.
Let's just say that if I was to have an orgasmic feeling during Endgame, it would be the only time that I have cried after an orgasm or during it. So let's just be solid about that. Many women after dealing with me have, but generally through boredom. But move on.
Yo, you're being too hard on yourself, Chief.
Okay. Aston, anything else you want to say?
I'm just gonna say I had a gag I didn't use the whole time. I literally have an official Deadpool shirt I didn't use, so shame on me for that and my crappy internet provider or Lenovo for making crappy laptops. Whoever it is, man, they wasted my gag. Shame on them and shame on me.
I guess you just lost a sponsorship then.
Yeah, they lost me, bro. Because
guess
K6
what?
looks like trash right about now. Like I'm gonna keep rinsing and recycling this shirt.
All right, guys, this is the last. Okay, this is your number one pick. And I will let Jeff go first.
Captain America, Winter Soldier, utter classic. What else can I say? It's already been talked about. It's just a remarkable film with a really outstanding 70s noir atmosphere about it. That Black Widow really adds to, as a part of the film. She really adds to that mystique, that noir kind of element. She knows the Winter Soldier already. She's kind of like the link, she's the one that has information on the Winter Soldier in the beginning. Nobody else does. And it's just Steve Rogers just is outstanding in it as the leading character, the lead act of the film. Steve Rogers, Chris Evans just kills it, and the Falcon. The introduction of the Falcon was outstanding. He was great. Black Widow and the Falcon were just standouts. Without them, you don't have the same film. That's all I got.
That's pretty cool. And Aston, you're the only one this list so far who has not said Captain America Winter Soldier is in their top 10. So what's your number one?
It's not going to be either.
Number uno is Avengers Endgame. It's a work of art. It's they took every emotional scene that should have been interspersed throughout the whole MCU, and they made it pay off in this movie. The Spider-Man scene. I always will come back to that Spider-Man scene. Everyone else fading, I could live with, bro. But Robert Downey Jr., he should have got an Oscar nomination for that portrayal. Forget Iron Man 3, forget Iron Man 2, forget everything. To me, it's Iron Man 1 and Endgame. You just take those two movies and you can easily say this is what progression is. This is doing it right. This is what an actor who knew what he was doing in the first movie, he knew he was going to deliver something like this. And you care for every single character. You don't care for Thanos. The sacrifices made. There is no Marvel movie that really has stakes this high. Yes, I liked Winter Soldier, but no offense, bro, you kill my mom, that Civil War's never ending. I don't care. There's no whatever, bro. I don't care. Captain America, you sold me out. That's why he gets one movie in my book. You get one movie, bro, and that's it. You don't get another one. And wannabe Cable with his robo arm and shit, whatever, low budget Cable, go back to Walmart. But yeah, Avengers Endgame to me is the masterclass. It's the reason we can say the MCU is going to go down in history for being one of the best series of films outside of box office. Everything delivered except that one crappy scene where they just forced all the girls in, even though they didn't do jack. But anyway, Avengers Endgame 1, we don't need to go to the She-Hulk salon or massage spot, Jeff. Don't send me there, please. No!
Oh my god. And Gunnar, you've been talking in private about wanting to talk about She-Hulk here, but I guess we can't talk about it here. So what's your number one?
All right, so Jeff, I've been one of the OGs on the show, have I not?
Yeah.
Years I've been coming here, so I took liberty and I broke the rules. My number one is Infinity War and Endgame. I can't separate them. I cannot separate them.
Okay.
First of all, let me just talk a little bit about Infinity War. What they did there was, I've said several things were perfect. They completely balanced all of these characters perfectly. Honestly, you can't say, man, I wish we had more X. All of the main characters, all of the Guardians, all of the Avengers, they were perfectly balanced. They all had their time. They all had their moment. Up to that point, find me a greater moment than when Thor comes into the Battle of Wakanda with Rocket and Groot and that dun, 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 that hits you. I get goosebumps. I literally watch it at home and I want to stand up and be like, oh, it's over now. That movie just was perfect. It made very little mistakes, I feel. Absolutely great. Everyone had their time. But then Endgame came out. And again, Matt, I wish I could have muted you because with the exception of the coming at I Am Iron Man, which was amazing, I cried that entire last 40 minutes or wherever. When he caught Mjolnir, I'm like, no, he did it. And then when he said Avengers, I'm like, say it.
Unbelievable.
And when he goes, assemble, I stood up in the theater and I'm bawling and I'm like, yes, and I'm crying that whole time. And yes, I Am Iron Man. I literally lost it. I wasn't crying. My mom just died and I am sobbing uncontrollably. That music score that they played first at the beginning on the Milano and then again at the end for Tony's funeral, like I can't hear that theme without bawling. And as great as Endgame was, going on YouTube and watching the video of the theater, watching it for the first time, I cry. I could put it on right now. I would sob the entire time because it brings me back to that moment.
Were you one of those people in the video that was like screaming?
Oh my gosh, that's the best video I've ever seen. Sorry, Jeff. I love your show, but that video is the greatest YouTube video ever because still to this day, I can't get it. Again, I would, if I had to say one over the other, I'd say Endgame, but Infinity War was so good. How can that not be number one? So yeah, Endgame 1A, Infinity War 1B. I love them both. Perfect. And a perfect send-off. And you are right. I Am Iron Man. You could not have written a better line than that line at that time. And what we failed to admit, the star of Infinity War was Thanos. He was the main star of that movie. He had triple the screen time anyone else did. He was the protagonist of that movie. We don't like to admit it. Thanos was great in that movie.
So you want Thanos in real life?
Oh man, that was
You want Thanos here in Earth right now?
You know what?
As long as not to swing the fingers.
As long as Matt can go on and Matt and snap his finger, I'm in.
Okay. Gunnar, what you said. Oh, well, you said a lot of amazing stuff. Okay. But this, like, I'm speechless, man. Like, that was just awesome what you did. And to wrap it up, Matt, there's a guy in the chat named Dom who says, you are on fire. Your zingers are hotter than what's spitting on the stove, cooking with 4 burners. This guy is excited for your number 1 pick, man.
Okay. Well, let me preface this by saying that before we started this show, that Avengers Infinity War and Endgame were 1 and 2. So Endgame has always been, and probably really is, my favorite MCU movie of all time. It's the one I watch the most. But then I started to think about, I go, what's what's the one that I enjoy? What's the one that I probably really had the most fun in? And I thought because everyone's going to say it's going to be Infinity War or Endgame is going to be 1 and 2. It's already been mentioned. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. Okay, and the reason I say this is that I actually didn't see this movie at the cinema. Right, I had a DVD rental shop at the time. I owned one, and I was that busy that I didn't get to go to the cinema to see this. But I ordered it on Blu-ray, and when it came in on Blu-ray, I got home, and I sat down. I thought I'm going to watch this movie. I knew nothing about Guardians of the Galaxy. I was really only introduced to Iron Man through that shitty 70s cartoon, and so I was not really an MCU guy, but Iron Man won me over and I was all in. I knew nothing about Guardians of the Galaxy. When I watched this movie for the first time, I was like, oh my fucking God. This is one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. It was funny. Andy Dwyer. The casting was exceptional. James Gunn just crushed it. The fact that he could make me feel like I wanted to be part of this group of people that I never knew. I never knew they existed. I'm not a comic book guy, so I had no idea. The actual importance of this movie to what goes forward, we get introduced to space, we get introduced to the stones, or we actually find the first stone. It's so important to the overall thread of the MCU, this film, and the fact that it is just James Gunn just fucking crushed it. It's by far the funniest MCU movie. It's got the characters that I probably, if they said, well, do you want to be a Guardian or do you want to be an Avenger? I probably want to go and hang out with the Guardians of the Galaxy. I think that'd be fucking amazing, right? But for sure, I want to go hang out with Tony and the boys as well, and Black Widow. Give me 5 minutes. I wouldn't even need 5 minutes with Black Widow. We haven't even spoken about her on this show, but I don't know, the soundtrack, the music, the characters, the importance to the overall thread. That's why it's Guardians 1 for me at number 1.
Cool. So I think we got everyone's number 1 picks. And let's start off with you, Jeff, since you put Guardians at number 8, which is I guess the highest among everyone else. Everyone else put it 2, 1.
I got it at 7, bro.
Oh, you put 7, yeah.
It's a really great film. I didn't know how well it would do in the top 10 list. I'm glad that it was so universally selected. I'm glad.
Anything else you want to say?
No, everyone made really great picks. Everyone had great top 10s. I've got no thoughts. Just thanks to everybody for coming on, and it's been very enjoyable. I've had a good time.
Aston, you put it as number 7 for Guardians, but anything you want to say?
For me, Guardians, that soundtrack, bro, I can definitely see how that's somebody's, out of all of them, it had to make my list, but for me, it just didn't connect for me enough for me to put it all the way up there, because I try to be but yeah, it's definitely the funniest. Chris Pratt, what he did, the fact that to me, it feels like Farscape and Marvel. It strays enough from the comics. They made Batista a little dumb and stuff. They gave Raccoon a little bit, he was a little more sassier. They got Bradley Cooper for it, but I was really worried about how that movie was going to turn out. And in essence, it's a story about an orphan kid who finds that family, and the sacrifices he's willing to take to keep that family together. And they did that well. And James Gunn really told a great story that could get even non-Marvel people went to watch that movie and they could be happy because you didn't need to know anything about the characters, anything about the MCU. And I just got to definitely shout out my boy Gunnar because it was emotional, bro. Those two movies were emotional for it. If you didn't feel anything in those movies, you're a sociopath and you need to get help. But if you watch those movies, I think what was good about the MCU, we all highlighted in these top 10. There is only one Deadpool movie at all in this list. The other two didn't make it. A lot of movies didn't make it at all, which made a whole lot of money. but it just goes to show that, and we have a wide enough demographic here. We got guys in their 40s, we got guys in their 30s, we got guys who aren't even like close to 30, and all of us kind of seem to resonate on the best stories. And like, I'm proud to be part of a panel like this, like none of us mentioned box office, none of us mentioned what's trendy, and we all kind of like, I would love to see the stats at the end, like how many times which one got picked, but I had a great time. And like Jeff said, it's a pleasure, like just being here with you guys. So thank you, Jeff, for always smuggling the wetback Slav guy into the show.
This is why we have you on, Aston. That was beautifully said. And Gunnar, a question for you. So, someone said Captain America Winter Soldier. That's what Jeff said. Someone said Guardians. What are your thoughts on those picks?
Well, like I said, my top four which Infinity War, Endgame, so technically my top five: Civil War, Guardians, and Winter Soldier. I could take any of them and make them my number one. I love them all that much. So, man, everyone pretty much said the same thing out of my four. So, feel vindicated. After my my Cap comments, my early Cap comments. I'll just keep it real, though.
Hey, Matt, any last things before we wrap up?
No, look, Avengers Endgame is just an absolute masterpiece of modern cinema. It'll never be matched ever again, I don't think. I saw it at a 9 a.m. session and walked out of there. The cinema was full at 9 a.m. here in Australia, and then I went back at 6 p.m. with my wife and my kids and watched it again on the same day. And there's just movies you just don't do that with. You don't see them twice in a day. And look, what makes it so difficult now is that the bar was set so high by those first 24 films that it's never going to be matched again. And it's a bit like Star Wars. It's a bit like the original trilogy. It's never going to be matched. They're trying hard, but then they just can't do it. The closest they've gotten with the MCU is probably with No Way Home, because that was a fan service movie that was actually done right. But I think that you've got four other gentlemen on this panel that obviously love these films, but it's a real shame that I don't think we're ever going to be able to talk about another MCU movie in the same reverence as we can as the Infinity Saga. And that makes me sad, because I was almost brought to tears listening to Gunnar talk about the passion that he had with watching Endgame, because it was the exact same thing that I went through.
Same here.
Yeah, and I sneakingly think that he nearly came in his pants. But that's okay. You can't admit it because you're American and you're a bit reserved, and that's fine. But us criminals down here in Australia, quite happy. But look, it's always fun. I love coming on here and talking shit. It's better than trying to talk to my family who don't listen to me. I know at least you guys listen to me, and I appreciate that. And I've got to keep that Vegemite sheet going.
Jeff, the floor is all yours.
All right. Great job, Wrath. Great job, everybody. We're out here. Folks, we appreciate you. God bless everybody tonight. Appreciate you down in the comment section. We will see you in the next one on Monday night on the MCU'S Bleeding Edge. Until then, peace.